Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Here with Taking Dish Sports, your host Raul Infante here with my co-host Alexis Diaz.
What's going on, guys? What's going on?
So we're gonna switch it up today, and we're gonna be talking about the Boston Celtics this year and the past year. You want to start it off, Alexi?
All right, of course. So a lot of Boston fans, when the beginning of this season started, really believed in us winning 65, 68. Some of them were saying 70 games. That's ludicrous, bro. You know why? Because this is the first time this Celtics team, with all the young guys, with a healthy Kyrie and a healthy Gordon Hayward, is actually playing meaningful games together. And the problem that's going to have when you have so many talented players is what? There's only one ball in the court, and it's sharing the ball. And that's all it is. The Celtics have the talent this year to go as far as winning the finals, but the main problem with them that I've seen this year compared to last year is the effort that they put in. Last year, they were putting outstanding effort from everybody. Either you're the 10th guy coming off the bench or you're starting and playing 45 minutes. You're giving it 150%.
Yeah, I agree. The effort is a little different this season. I noticed last season, even on the defensive side, the last two seasons, even with Isaiah Thomas, the Celtics were in the top two defensively. And last year, you know, they had a similar team, but the effort was a lot higher. It seemed like guys were having fun. And when you're having a good defensive team, you also have fun on the other side of the court. This season, it seems a little different in regards to that. It seems like guys are not having fun. And also, because Gordon Hayward and other players are back, it seems like they're having a hard time adjusting to, you know, what the starting lineup should look like, you know, who should be playing what, how many minutes, who should be taking the shot, and things like that.
So when I look at the Celtics team, right, the first thing I notice is that there's a lot of characters in this team. And for every great championship team, there's always characters. And one thing I notice about this team is that we have guys like Marcus Morris, Marcus Smart, that are tough bulldogs. But then you guys have you have guys that are divas. Kyrie Irving. Terry Rozier, I think, is a diva because he wants... Terry Rozier, I think, is the one that took the biggest hit with Kyrie Irving and Hayward coming back. Why? Because Hayward is cutting into his minutes off the bench. Why? Kyrie Irving and Marcus Smart handles the ball when he's on the court. A lot of the minutes Terry Rozier are getting is him at the one, Marcus at the two, right? Or him at the one and Kyrie at the two. But he's not doing that much ball handling as he was last year. Removing him, I think, in the rotation from the bench is going to improve the Celtics team in the long haul. And I think it's shown the last game when they played the Warriors.
I had a feeling that the Celtics weren't going to be as good as they were last year. Reason being is because it was a contract year for Kyrie Irving, and just like you said, a guy like Terry Rozier. Here's the thing. Kyrie Irving is a superstar. Everybody knows it in the NBA. What's he going to try to do? He's going to try to maximize the amount of money that he gets in the offseason, depending on the performance this season. That put a lot of pressure on him. So what happened, if you notice, when he takes a lot of shots in a game, the other guys don't get as much shots. Everybody's shooters on that team. There's a lot of forwards in that team that need the ball in their hands. Morris, Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum. Young guys like that need the ball in their hands in order to succeed. Look at what Shaq ended up saying, that in order for the Celtics to succeed, they need Kyrie Irving to start, playing less selfish ball and moving that ball around. Every time that the Celtics play together, they end up whether blowing teams out or playing extremely exciting basketball and together, especially, which was the biggest difference from last year when Kyrie Irving's points per game, assists per games, actually went up, but points per games went down. And as a result of it, the team won a lot more games. And going into the playoffs, they had great momentum. And it actually, you know, set a bar for Terry Rozier that he had to come to play ball in the playoffs. And they did a damn good job getting to Game 7 against the Cavs last season.
See, a lot of people are talking about how this Celtics team is underperforming and all that. If you look at the numbers, right, the net rating of the Celtics is only third behind Milwaukee and Golden State, which are the two of the best teams in the league. What it is not producing is W's, wins in the win column. It's producing more losses than wins. Why? Because I feel like Kyrie Irving, he wants to be the leader of this team. He wants to be the guy. He already said it when he left Cleveland. But I feel with this Celtics team in particular, with all the talent that's there, it's too much for him to handle. Because there's going to be nights that he's not going to be the hot hand. And you're going to have a guy like Jason Tatum that's going to be taking all the shots that night. And I feel like Kyrie still hasn't either taken that in as himself to be like, all right, it's fine for JT to take his extra 10 or 12 shots more than Kyrie. It's fine that Jaylen Brown's coming off the bench dropping 14 in 4 minutes because he's done it already. But then Kyrie go ahead and inserts himself as being the ball-dominant point guard. And with this Celtics team, they need to share the ball to win. And it starts with Kyrie. Because why? He's handling the ball majority of the times. I like the two ball game between Kyrie and Al Horford, but the problem with that is that it takes other guys out of rhythm.
Absolutely. Being one-dimensional in any sport creates a problem where, defenses are able to pick up on that and eventually adjust. If you notice, the Celtics in the first quarter dominate most teams. In my opinion, they're the best first quarter team. But then after the first quarter, you go into the second quarter, and especially in halftime, they have an extreme downfall coming in the third quarter where they're playing catch-up basketball in the fourth quarter. A player that I would love to see improving coming off the bench is Jaylen Brown. I noticed since the change of last year from a starter to coming off the bench, that effort hasn't been there. There's been a few times where he's been criticized for his defense. Obviously, that one time where Morris was clapping at him because he wasn't guarding his man. Points like that add up. The Celtics are not getting blown out all the time. They're losing really, really close games. And that defensive effort could really change the outcomes of those games where they're not falling into, a 4-point loss. It could be an easy turnaround of a 1-point winning game or a 2-point game, so it could definitely change the outcome of the game. And on top of that, there's not that much that I think is different from last year in the sense of the points that players are accumulating, though, because if you notice last year, before Kyrie Irving got hurt, in the fourth quarter, he wasn't playing a lot of the fourth quarter to reserve his minutes. 6 minutes left in the game. It was Kyrie Irving's time. He'll come in the game, and the Celtics will take care of business. But in that time, a lot of fans are panicking, saying, "Hey, maybe Kyrie should be put in with 8 or 9 minutes left, so that way instead of losing by 4, maybe they can win, like I said, by 1 or 2." That's not the case. The other guys have to show improvement as well, so that way when it comes to playoff times, with teams that have deeper benches, you won't have that struggle of always relying on your starting team.
See, and when I feel like when the playoffs come around, the Celtics bench is going to be key. I don't have a problem with our starters. Well, I do like Jaylen Brown starting, though, over Marcus Smart, because I still feel like Jaylen Brown could be a good defensive guy, and he could provide you a better offense than Marcus Smart at times. But not to take anything away from Marcus Smart, because he's having a career year in shooting and even in field goal and everything all around. But I think with this Celtics team, they go as far as their bench, and it starts with Gordon Hayward. Obviously, Gordon Hayward coming from the injury, coming back, it's going to take some time for him to get back into rhythm. But how long are we going to be saying that? There's only 18 games left in the 17 games left in the season, and we're still waiting for him to come back in rhythm. He has shown great games. He has shown that he could put up 20, 25 off the bench. But how consistent is he going to be in the playoffs? And I think that's going to be one thing that we got to keep an eye on. Because if it's something where in the first set of the first round of the playoffs, we have a bench that's struggling, Brad Stevens is going to have to do some changes. And I think he should put I personally think Marcus Smart should be coming off the bench with Marcus Morris. Just because they provide that energy and they're thinking about scoring first, instead of some of these guys that they don't show that effort, like Terry Rozier. Last year, Terry Rozier had a stellar playoff performance. This year, I don't see no effort from the guy,
I don't know. Maybe switching, Jaylen Brown to the starting lineup would be a good idea, but here's the problem. Then you have too many forwards in the starting lineup, and then you won't have enough talented forwards coming off your bench, especially come playoff time. Let's put that at a pause for a second here because I want to talk about Aron Baynes. People forget that Aron Baynes was healthy pretty much all season last year, and it really provided depth for the Celtics, especially in the paint where all these centers and power forwards have been able to dominate this season. If you notice, the games that he has been in there, we took that loss against the Houston Rockets, but it was his first game back, to be fair. But if you notice, the Celtics play a lot better when Horford is not playing the center position. You have Aron Baynes there. He might get posterized 100 times, but it doesn't matter. He's still creating that defensive mechanism there that really helps create and build a great defense overall of the 5 guys that are on the court at that time. And like I said, this year, he hasn't been on the court enough, so it obviously has made an impact on the Celtics.
See, I love Aron Baynes. I love him. If Danny Ainge wants to trade the team, he could trade anybody but Baynes, Al Horford, Tatum, and Kyrie. Why? Because we just finished saying it. Baynes plays such an important role on our defense that it's crucial for him to play his 20, 25 minutes alongside with Al Horford at the 4. He's a completely different team on the defensive side of the ball. And that's one thing that is going to take us to the promised land is playing defense.
Absolutely. Well, there it is, guys. Taking Dish Sports here with our first take. Again, you're a host, Raul Infante, and here with the co-host, Alexis Diaz.
What's going on, guys? Thank you. Appreciate everything. Appreciate you guys taking your time, liking and subscribing us. Keep on listening to us.